In a recent video, I talked about the pretty terrifying terms that CapCut just included in their terms of service just a few weeks ago. But a lot of you seem to be underplaying how sketchy this is, and so I wanted to go through and answer a few questions that you guys had. When will they take your data? How serious is it? And also, am I AI? Which I got quite a few comments about that. Could an AI do this? No, in all seriousness, I'm not AI. Look, this is not an AI background. This is a real wall. Could an AI shake their hair like this? Is it that good yet? No, but AI will be that good, and that's kind of terrifying. One day, you will not be able to discern if I'm AI or if I'm a real warm-blooded human, which is a very AI thing to say. If you don't know what I'm talking about as far as the terrifying terms that CapCut has put in, essentially, whenever you use CapCut for the most part and you're logged in, if you use any of the AI services like the AI captioning, if you use AI stabilization, if you share directly to TikTok, if you basically, honestly, if you're connected to the internet, and especially if you're logged in and stuff, if you use any of the AI textiles, CapCut can use whatever media, whatever is on your timeline and in the software for whatever they want. Whatever they want. If they want to use it as an ad, if they want to license it out to some random company, they legally have the rights to do this. And I will put the exact terms of service in the description and in the comments. So if you want to check for yourself, you can. It's not, a lot of people mentioned that I was fear-mongering and being overly dramatic and stuff. But this is some serious stuff that they've put in this. For example, just listen to this. By submitting user content via the services, you acknowledge and agree that you allow us to upload such content to our server and hereby grant us and our affiliates, agents, service providers, partners, and other connected third parties an unconditional, irrevocable, non-exclusive, royalty-free, fully transferable, and sublicensable, perpetual, worldwide, to use, modify, adapt, reproduce, make derivative works of, display, publish, transmit, distribute, and or store your user content for providing these services for you. In my last video, I was not fear-mongering for views. This is in the license, and it's scary stuff, especially that they can take your footage and your family's likeness, your client's likeness, your likeness, and sell it to whoever they want, license it. But let's go through a few of the things that you guys mentioned, because a lot of them are very valid. And the big one is, a lot of you had mentioned, what about Meta? What about Adobe? What about these different sites and different companies that have the same thing in the terms of service? And the reason why I quotation that is because it's not exactly the same things. Meta is pretty close in that it basically says you upload stuff to Instagram, to Facebook. Meta can use your stuff how they want. But there's a caveat. If you take that media, that photo, that video, whatever you have on Facebook or Instagram, if you take it off their platforms, they no longer can use that content. And that is different when it comes to CapCut. If you are editing in CapCut and you download an AI text style, if you use AI stabilization, CapCut can use your stuff forever until the end of time. You gave them, hopefully you did not, but if you did agree to the terms of service and you continue on, you give them the right to use that forever. Even when you're 80 years old, if CapCut or ByteDance is still a thing, they can continue to use it. So that is a big difference between CapCut and Meta. Another thing when comparing CapCut and Meta is that at any point, if the Chinese government would like to access the data that ByteDance has gathered, all of the footage, anything that you have ever uploaded, they are allowed to because they're an authoritarian regime. They're allowed to access the information from their different companies. And while I don't trust Meta or Mark Zuckerberg by any means, I trust the Chinese government the least. And I'm not trying to get political here, but these are just the facts. It's the way it is. And the last big difference between CapCut and Meta is that when you upload to Facebook or Instagram, you kind of assume that your face is going to be out there, your family's face is going to be out there, it's online. Whereas if you're editing in an editing software, say you're just creating a home video for you and your family, you're not expecting that video to be online. Maybe you don't want to post it online, but because of CapCut's new terms of service, they'll own your likeness and stuff like that if you agree to the terms of service. As an example, I have a friend who posts on Facebook frequently, and if he has a picture with him and his kid, he always puts an emoji over his kid's face. He doesn't want his kid's face out there. He wants privacy for his child, and he wants to leave that up to the kid. I assume, I haven't asked him this, but I assume he wants to leave it up to the kid as to whether or not he wants to be online and stuff. But if he was to just edit in CapCut and not upload at all to any social media site, they have the ability to take his kid's likeness and face and license it to whoever they want, use it as an ad, and so on. And that is what is most terrifying. It's equivalent to someone saying, sure, the government can look at my computer or go through my stuff, or the cops can go through my stuff. I have nothing to hide. It's the principle of the matter that matters. There's a great book called 1984, and it kind of explains what potentially this kind of stuff could lead to. So I'm going to leave it at that for this example. A lot of you had questions as to when CapCut triggers the taking of your data. A lot of you thought it would only be if you're uploading to the server, or if you're sharing directly from CapCut to TikTok or other social media platforms. But it is a lot more sinister and easier for them to access your stuff than you would think. For one, if you are logged into your CapCut account and you have internet turned on, they got you, basically. So anything cloud-based, any type of syncing and saving where you're logged into your account, that is going to give them access and trigger that. But the big thing that I think would get most of you, because I know a lot of you are thinking, well, then I just won't sign in and yada yada. Maybe I won't have my internet turned on and then I'll be okay. But here's the thing. If you want to use the script-to-video and AI writer, if you want to use AI characters and text-to-speech, if you want to use auto captions and AI translator, if you want to use AI background removal and magic tool, auto reframe and AI movement stabilization, noise reduction and flicker removal, AI video generator, which is text or image to video, or AI stickers, text styles, and stock, and then I actually missed the last word here, but I assume it's stock photos. I could be wrong there. You are going to trigger their ability to take your media and use it how they want. What's so scary about that is even if you are downloading the different text styles in CapCut, and I said that kind of quick, text styles, it will trigger it. A lot of you use CapCut, I assume, for those features, AI captioning, noise removal, etc. If you use those, you're going to want to use another editing software, in my opinion, unless you don't really care about what I'm talking about and what the terms have in them. But I think you might care when I read this other part of the terms of service. All user content will be considered non-confidential. You must not upload or make available any user content on or through the services, or make available to us any user content that you consider to be confidential or proprietary to any other person. So if you're creating videos of, say, if you're creating vertical videos of different podcasts, if you are creating videos of Lionel Messi, you're kind of screwing yourself because you don't own the videos of these different podcasts if you're editing different podcast videos and stuff like that, but you're essentially giving CapCut that license. And I don't know if someone can sue you for that. They can't sue CapCut because you're giving it to them, and I think they're covered under their terms, but that should warn you enough about going through with what they've added in these terms. Even if you were like, I don't really care if someone uses my face to make money, no one's going to use my face ever, blah, blah, blah. Whatever you're putting into the editing software, and if you download an AI text style, if you use the different features, they're going to be able to use that for whatever they want. So that's pretty scary. But what about Adobe? I think Adobe had something in their terms initially that kind of freaked people out, and so they dialed it back. Now in their terms of service, they have something that specifically says that they will not use your data, your likeness, etc. for AI training, which is nice. Also, the license to use your content, yes, they can use your content, but they say it's only for diagnostic and service operations only, whereas CapCut's is a broad, perpetual license. If you are wondering when Adobe would have access to your stuff, basically, if you're fully local and you avoid using the cloud features, then you are good. Whereas with CapCut, local is safe, But if you're using any of the features, the AI, templates, if you're downloading a different a text style, then it can upload. Something else that's different about Adobe is there's a lot more transparency as far as their terms of service, and you're able to opt out. So it's clear and transparent. But CapCut's, as we've seen, is hidden way down in the terms of service. No one reads that. Thankfully, someone did, and now this is blowing up, which is good. But you also cannot opt out of the terms of service. So basically, in order to continue using all of the features that you like in CapCut, you have to agree to their terms of service. The other thing that's different about Adobe is your likeness, face, and voice rights are not claimed unless explicitly licensed, whereas CapCut, it's claimed broadly via the terms. So a lot of your statements kind of tossing this aside, saying that everyone does this, everyone takes your data, Meta takes your data, Adobe takes your data. While that is true to a certain degree, the level at which CapCut could potentially take your data is staggering and terrifying. And this is not just me with a tinfoil hat like someone said on Facebook. This is real. It's in their terms of services. And if we say that this is okay, it's only a matter of time before other tech companies, other service companies start doing stuff like this. And then all the dominoes have fallen and we can't go backwards. The very last thing I want to bring up is that someone commented, "So what? People are being so precious and dramatic about their bland, generic videos." And I want to reiterate that this is not just an issue if you're a public figure or you're a celebrity. This whole thing is about consent and control. Companies should not be able to use your face, your likeness, your media, the stuff that you have created without your permission. It is not just about fame or if you're well known. It is about your rights. And at some point, we gotta say no. This is not something we can say, well, they're never gonna use my face. They're never going to use my family's face for an ad. There has to be a hard line or else the floodgates will open. I hope I answered some of your questions. I didn't get to all of them. I just wanted to cover the main ones, but thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you still don't care about CapCut's terms of services. I'm curious to hear if there's any of you out there, but as always, I hope you have a great day and I will see you next time.